You should work in an airport.
That's
the point. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Screen Weens, episode 129. We've been doing this for 2 years. Mm-hmm. We're ancient now.
We are.
We're old. Nothing's changed.
Nope.
Except we're old.
And we used to record in the living room.
We did.
And now we're on camera. So I guess two things have changed.
Audio's a little better, too.
Yes.
Actually, it's substantially better. It's still not great, but it's substantially better than what it was.
Yeah.
And what else is different? We don't just pick two random movies.
Yeah, we try to actually pick stuff that'll work cohesively together now instead of like, what was the example we talked about last week? Ghostmates and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Or like, what else? What did we watch with Visitor Q?
I don't remember, but I will never forget our lovely duo of Lady on Fire, or Portrait of a Lady on Fire with Blood Shack, a.k.a. The Trooper. Two movies that naturally make for the best paired viewing experience. But we still do kind of get into the random stuff when we do the bag episodes.
Yeah.
But
at least they have the cohesiveness of
being god-awful.
Being bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's look at some other great examples here. See, our first couple episodes, it at the very least somewhat tied together. Like, I think that the creation of the humanoids and Under the Silver Lake actually kind of work together in, like, at least better than, like, I don't know, Eraserhead and The Big Lebowski.
Yeah. Fair. I forgot we did.
El Topo and Art and Craft.
What? I can mean.
One's a documentary.
One is a documentary.
The Goddess and Last of the Living.
Oh my god. One of the best and one of the worst movies we've ever covered. Oh, man. The Last of the Living. That's
The Dark Crystal Show, Dogtooth, and Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
What a...
I remember, like...
Johnny got his gun in Visitor Q. That was the... That's actually not true.
Yeah, that's better than some of the other ones.
The Witch and Splatter and Runaway.
What was Runaway?
That was with, like, the robots. Like
that. Yeah, that was Pierre's pick. Yeah.
Splatter.
None of those three mesh well together at all. Maybe the Splatter and the Witch, because they're both considered in the loose confines of the horror genre, but... Man. Oh, let's go back to doing that. I'll pick an old pick, you pick the modern pick, and we'll just hope that they mesh together well. Oh, man. Yeah, truly some interesting choices we made early on. But,
yeah.
You know, we were the Weencast there for like an episode.
Yeah, and then the Weencast contacted us going like, hey man, we got a podcast about Ween, everyone's favorite band. I'm like, how do you talk about Ween for more than one episode?
I could see how they could do it. I can't imagine it being like a weekly goes on forever podcast, but, Ween's got like a deep enough like mythos and kind of like pretty much that to it.
There's 45 episodes. We should listen to them.
Yeah. At the very least, we should listen to more Ween. Because Ween is good. I like what I've heard of Ween. But they sing Ocean Man.
Ocean Man.
Although I'm partial to, I think it's the Stallion Part 3.
Anyway, for Black History Month, we're talking about two Barry Jenkins films today. We'll be talking about Medicine for Melancholy and If Beale Street Could Talk, which I thought was just a romance movie, which I said last week. I'm like, maybe we should try to avoid ones about trauma. And I'm like, holy fuck, that movie's intense.
I mean, you were a lot closer than I was, because for whatever reason, I went into this and I was like, this is a musical. It was not a musical.
It is a romance movie, but I was like,
Yes.
I thought it was more like, and I'm like, nope, that's a fucking heavy ass movie.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about those shortly. But I don't know. Did you watch anything else? Did you do anything else?
I finished the first Narnia book.
Ooh.
The first half was fun. It was bizarre and weird. The second half, they actually get to Narnia, and it just becomes like a Jesus fanfic. So I wasn't as into that one. But then I also finished The Bluest Eye, and wow, that book is fucking depressing. It's basically just about like cycles of abuse. And yeah, you're just, if you read it, you're witness to some truly horrific scenes, but, it's very well written, and I do plan on reading more Toni Morrison, because, I plan on probably reading all of her fiction books, especially Beloved. That's like her big book that she's most known for.
Mm-hmm.
Oprah did an adaptation of that I probably would have picked, but I want to read it before I watch it, so...
It's next year.
No, I'll probably get to that, because her books aren't very big.
Oh.
So, yes. And I'm averaging 3 books at a time right now. I work through them slower, but then, like, I kind of finish them all, like, kind of back to back. And I'm like, I finished 3 books instead of 1, so...
Nice.
Yes. That, and it gives me a variety, because The Bluest Eye, it's like... I tried to finish it like 2 nights ago. I sat down. I was like, I'm going to finish this book tonight. And I read 1 chapter. And I was like, I need to put this down because I just read through 2 essay scenes. And it's just like, And then it's like, well, now I'm going to read The Name of the Wind, which has much less of that and is more of a kind of like egocentric journey through a fantasy world. But yeah, it's, I've just been reading a lot. That and Rocket League and work.
Classic.
Yep.
I haven't watched anything.
Did you watch the season finale for Book of Boba?
No, because it came out today. And I was finishing the Medicine for Melancholy last night, and I'm like, it's too... I gotta go to bed and go to work. So I'll probably watch it sometime tonight with the boys. But I've really liked Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are not hot on it, but it's fun.
Yeah.
I'll probably eventually talk about it. I'll probably go through like Mando and Boba Fett on the show, on the podcast, as they call it.
Yes, at some point.
No, and then there's 2 episodes left of Peacemaker when it comes out tomorrow. That show's really good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, really good. I really like it.
Yeah, I need to sit down. I still haven't watched The Suicide Squad.
It's good. Well, I feel like I'm hyping it up too much for you. I feel like I'm mostly just going like, I like it.
Yeah. I've heard mostly good things. I've heard a couple negative things. Like, some people are like, I didn't care for it. So, I'm interested to see how I feel about it whenever I get around to watching it.
I'm playing Dragon Age. Been playing board games.
Like 2...
Inquisition still.
Inquisition.
Yeah, we've been going through that one. We finished that campaign of Lord of the Rings, though. That's the main thing we were doing. We were just booking it through that one.
Yeah. That
3rd campaign we did, which is the newest one that came out for Spreading War, the big expansion, so good. It's the best one they've done. The design space is really like changing, and they're really doing like new and interesting things. That game's fantastic. It's, I've spent $300 on it at this point.
Oh, wow.
Because the base game was $100, because board games are expensive, especially if they come with miniatures. And then each of the expansions was $80, I think. But it's been worth it. We've sunk in like 40 hours into it. And, multiply that by 4 people. It's 160.
Yeah.
And it's been a blast. I've had fun with it pretty much every time I've played it.
Oh, hell yeah.
And there's 2 more like downloadable campaigns that we can do that are like smaller that I want to do, and then I just kind of want to play another one again after that, just like because we failed the first 2. I'm like, let's go do it again.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and then we were watching a little more of Ozark. I like that show. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But mostly just been busy with work and tired. So
I can feel it.
yeah, but let's jump into questions from Pierre.
He gave us questions again?
He did.
Oh man, I thought that was an occasion when he graced us with his presence thing.
Question 1. What is the strongest construction vehicle?
Strongest in what sense? I guess he's not here to follow up that.
I could call him.
Nah. I'm just gonna say... I don't know, I feel like... I don't know what the proper name for it, but whatever the one that, like, swings the wrecking ball.
The wrecking ball, I was about to say that.
Yeah.
There's like a crane with a wrecking ball on it.
Probably.
Yeah, the wrecking ball thing. Sure. Let's go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Question 2. If you had to spend a day hanging out with a horror movie antagonist, who would it be? Do Tucker and Dale count?
He said antagonist?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, who are you watching it through the lens? Maybe,
I mean, Tucker, Dale, or the love interest in that movie, but either route you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd probably say Chucky, because I could just like toss him in a dog kennel and make sure it's locked up real good. And
he seems like a nice guy.
He probably like...
He seems like does he become nice?
No. I mean, I don't know. I've only ever seen the first 5.
Watch that show.
I need to... Yeah, the show's a sequel to some of the other ones, so I need to watch that eventually. But he'd get real vulgar, and if he got out, he would try to kill me. But he's a doll. You know, I just feel like...
You could take him.
Most of the time, he just has the element of surprise on people. He won't have that against me. So... Because I'll be spending the afternoon with him. So...
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my answer. You can go hang out with Sadako.
She'd kill me.
Well, maybe you're just like... I don't know, you gotta spend the afternoon with her. So, she can't kill you straight up.
I could hang out with the cat from House.
I still haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Maybe like... Does Gizmo count as the antagonist?
No. You can hang out with... Maybe I'd allow the smart gremlin from Gremlins 2.
Ooh! Yeah, maybe like... I'll hang out with the plant from Little Shop of Horrors.
There you go.
I'll just be far away.
Hopefully it doesn't break the pot and come after you. I don't think it would.
I'll bring a flamethrower. Does Sunshine count as a horror movie? If so, I'll hang out with the sun. The dying sun.
Fair, although I don't think that's the antagonist of that movie.
The antagonist is humanity.
That, but a very specific human going around the ship.
You're right. Maybe Matt Damon.
There you go.
In
real life.
Yeah, Crypto Man. Welcome to cryptocurrency. Sure. I'll hang out with the crazy grandparents in The Visit by M. Night Shyamalan. That movie's good. It's dumb. I'll hang out with anyone. Figure it out.
You hang out with the main character from Creep.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth dying.
He probably wouldn't kill you if you'd like him.
That's true. I'd be like, man, you're kind of hot.
Yeah, will you do the scary wolf dance for me? I can't.
Hello, my name is Peach Fuzz.
Yeah, Peach Fuzz, that's right.
Question 3. Do you think that movies made today would be better if they were shot exclusively using Nintendo DSi cameras?
No.
Maybe there's probably at least one movie that I could say would be better if it was shot with a Nintendo DSi camera. And that's to boldly flee. Because it'd probably be better than whatever camera they use.
I don't know. Maybe. That's a possibility.
Anyway, our email address is twoweensandascreen@gmail.com. If anyone wants to email us things that are relevant to movies and not whatever Pierre messages us.
Yeah.
You got one movie-related one in there.
That's true.
Good job, Pierre. You did it. And look, no question about David Lynch.
Wow.
That's called character growth. I guess technically the DSi one was related to movies, but wasn't like a real question.
Inland Empire.
In DSi camera empire.
Mm-hmm.
We could remake Cameraman, the 1920 kind of experimental documentary from Russia, but we could do it with a Nintendo DSi camera.
There we go. Perfect.
Or what's that one? We could do Rear Window, but it's about a kid who specifically points his camera up so they don't see him. So he just puts his Nintendo DSi up there in the middle of the night to look at his neighbors.
What is that kid doing? He's just I'm playing video games. I'm not recording you.
And Pauly Shore plays him.
Pauly Shore plays him. The killer or the kid?
Both.
There we go. Perfect. Be like an Anomalisa thing where he plays most of the characters, if not all of them.
Yeah.
So we just jumping into Medicine for Melancholy?
I believe we are. In just a moment. Did you see, you don't go on the Tic Tac, do you?
Not really, no.
Have you seen the Pauly Shore Pinocchio movie that came out?
No. Is it the Guillermo del Toro one?
No. There's 3 Pinocchio movies coming out, or that are out. But this one's really badly animated, and it's Pauly Shore plays Pinocchio, and he's like, "Father, when am I gonna go be able to be a real boy?" It's you should watch the trailer. It's something else. I think it might already be out. I think I should watch it.
Yeah. Damn.
Apparently John Hader is in it as well.
Oh, okay. Napoleon Dynamite himself.
Tom Kenny plays Geppetto.
That doesn't surprise me. He could play any animated role, and it honestly would not surprise me.
That's fair. Oh, apparently it comes out February 17th.
Very close. Very close. Just right around the corner.
Maybe I should play it. Hold on. I'll just play it real quick. It's loading an ad before I watch a trailer. This is devastating. The current state of media is just ridiculous. Everything should be free. I should be able to watch the goddamn trailer to Pinocchio, a true story starring Pauly Shore, without watching an ad for Canva? I don't need to design a poster.
Uh-oh.
There you go. Now, what should we name you? Maybe Leonardo. No, he'd grow up to be a turtle who only cares about pizza. I don't believe my eyes. Your name will be Pinocchio.
Father, when can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see.
You are too special.
Man.
That audio is really popular on TikTok right now.
That doesn't surprise me.
Anyway, let's talk about a Barry Jenkins film. Let's talk about Medicine for Melancholy.
Alright, on a brief side note, what if the boyfriend was revealed in this movie and he was played by Pauly Shore?
No wonder she wanted to.
It's going to be my headcanon for this movie from now on.
So this came out back in 2008. It was Barry Jenkins' first feature-length film, and then he didn't make another film until Moonlight, or another feature.
Yeah, I was gonna say I always thought Moonlight was his feature, and then you pulled this one out on me, and I was like, oh, I guess not.
It's really weird because it's like I think this movie's like fine. It's pretty
very independent.
It's pretty rough around the edges, but like I like some of the stuff it's going for. But I'm just like, it's crazy that like some of my favorite filmmakers, their first movie is like fine or like I like it enough, but I'm like it's nothing special. And then their second movie is like, oh, this is just like the greatest thing I've ever fucking seen. Yeah. Like Bong Joon-ho.
I feel like a lot of first time directors try to work around their budget, so they try to think of like very basic like stories that are like very real and don't necessarily like flesh out with like maybe locations or sets or things that would give it a bit more spice.
Which is funny because I still think like Moonlight, go to the second one, there's still not a lot of like
that is true.
Yeah, it just looks nicer, and the like the writing is just substantially better, and the acting is substantially better.
That's true, but there's also like a lot more actors in it.
Yeah, no, that's
it takes place over 3 different periods. They shoot inside of a school. There's like the abandoned like apartments where he finds the main character. There are definitely like little things that like I think kind of add up, but. Yeah, it still could definitely be done on like an indie budget for sure, though.
But I mean, if we talked about The Last Black Man in San Francisco, and I think that touches upon a lot of the same kind of things that this movie kind of touches upon, being like a black person living in a place that's like rapidly gentrifying, and the black population is like rapidly decreasing. I think it touches on like the same kind of things, but this one doesn't necessarily. It's more of a story of just like these two random people just like meeting. These two people meet or they wake up pretty much and they had a one night stand. They don't even remember each other's names. They never actually introduced each other. They're just like fucked. But they go their separate ways. Oh no, she left her wallet. He goes there. They kind of become friends and they hang out for like 24 hours. So, you know, my jam of a movie, like little small, like not a lot of locations, small scale, 2 characters just talking throughout like a city over a course of like a day. You know, that's before trilogy are like my favorite movies. I love shit like that. From Cleo from 5 to 7, another one I really like, you know. So I was kind of like, maybe I'll like this one. And I feel like if Barry Jenkins were to make this movie now, the things he could do with this, I might like really like this, but I don't know, like, it's fine. I didn't like hate it, but it's just like, it looks really bad. I don't like the like color palette, the like complete lack of saturation. So the only thing that shows up are like reds. Yeah,
reds, greens, like small hues, but it basically looks black and white when you're watching.
Which I would have just preferred if it was black and white at that point.
Yeah. It does, like, increase the color in certain shots for, like, dramatic purposes. But for the... Yeah. It was alright. I thought it was kind of interesting. I think my biggest gripe with this movie is just the fact that the main character is trying to, like, mansplain his, like, perspective of the world onto her. Like, it's, like, the deepest, like, thing that she just hasn't, like, been awakened to yet when she's like, no, like, I know all of this. It's just, like, you know, she doesn't put as much stock into it as he does.
Yeah. And, I mean, I don't think that either character is, like, wrong for this. It's just, like, the way he goes about it is so, like, just...
It's pretty...
He's just a dick to her.
Pretty, like, He definitely thinks himself on the pedestal in the situation.
Yeah. But like jumping into like the before trilogy, I think Ethan Hawke's character in that first one does the same type of stuff. He's just more charismatic about it, while this character is just like, I don't know, he's just kind of like a loner who doesn't shower, and like he's constantly like, why aren't you with me? He's just a little...
He's got some, like, neckbeard tendencies.
Yeah, so I think he's less charismatic, so I'm more critical on him, like, mansplaining, because, you know...
We get a brief look at his MySpace page, and he's got, like, one of those, like, mall things with his ex-girlfriend that's, like, ripped in half, and it's got, like, big emo letters plastered, like, I want my heart back, or some shit like that. And he, like, it's in... I don't know if he, like, stole the bike or he just kept it when his girlfriend left, but he's basically like got 2 bikes. He's like, yeah, I took this back when my girlfriend broke up with me. And it's just like, oh, kind of rude, but okay. But yeah, he definitely comes off in that regard. But yeah, basically he's spending the day with this woman who I think she is interested in him, but she's kind of like waiting and playing it by ear because of all the warning signs.
Well, she has a boyfriend.
Well, that too, but it's clear that like she's clearly not like fully happy with him. Yeah. So it seems like she's kind of taking the day to like, experiment, weigh her options. But yeah. Yeah, I like it enough. It's a fine little movie.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say about this one. It's more like these nice little conversations. And there are some nice conversations. Some just, I feel like, are going nowhere and just aren't really interesting on their own. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily think the performances or anything about the scene are elevated enough to, like, make those scenes, like, feel genuine. It just feels like a student film without, like, the rawness I like. While some of those conversations that I'm genuinely interested in, I think, are elevated by how like independent this film is. I think it can work towards its favor and against it, and I think it does that pretty with a pretty 50-50 split for me. Like there's some times where that feeling of like this was made for like $20 feels like really good for the movie, and it makes it feel more genuine and expressive of like the characters. But at the same time, there are many moments where it just makes it feel bad. At least to me.
I honestly didn't have like a whole lot of gripes with the presentation of this, just because I'm used to like these types of movies, and it really doesn't bother me if like low budget first time director like does this kind of thing. It's like I get it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just
but yeah, I'd probably just say like, yeah, you can definitely tell that the seeds are there, but they just needed to like mature a bit.
Yeah, and that's what's really interesting about watching this movie is watching those seeds, like being like, hey, I can tie this directly into like how he directs and how like the characters are written and how they interact with each other. So, I mean, it's worth it just for that, in my opinion. Even if, like, I didn't love the movie, I'm like, it's worth a watch. I really like watching directors' first movies. Because I'm like, that's cool. It's fun drawing those lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, no, I really don't have a whole lot to say on this one.
Me neither.
You would give it 5 out of 10.
I would. I think you would also. 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Thought it was either a 5 or 6. It's fair. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's talk about If Beale Street Could Talk. Good.
Yeah.
I really like this movie.
This one's good. Yeah.
Based on a book. Which details the account of a young woman. What was her name? Fuck.
I don't remember it.
Anyway, a young black woman. She's like 19 years old. Her husband. Are they married?
They're not
married. That was a point of contention. Her boyfriend gets arrested for sexual assault on a woman.
Tish.
Her name's Tish. Okay. Sexual assault on a woman when they're like, this is pretty much impossible that he could have done this. And been arrested at the spot he was at. Like, this can't be possible. And they're working through, like, trying to get him out of prison. And it's told both through flashbacks of how they, like, started being together and, like, early stuff to her trying to get him out of jail.
And, yeah, we'll get, like, several flashes. The movie doesn't really take place in one cohesive time period.
Yeah.
There's, like, that A plot which does, but it'll bounce back in several others.
Yeah.
Like we meet in one scene, like we see how he meets the cop who claims that he saw him flee the scene of the crime. And obviously it's not under the best circumstances they meet, because he's, like, tossing a guy out who is, like, basically harassing Tish. And then this cop comes out and is basically, he's like, I'm going to arrest you. But the shopkeeper was like, no, like, I saw the whole thing. Just, you don't arrest them. So, like, we see that, and, yeah. I don't know. Basically, like, I like this movie. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know. I lost my train of thought there.
A lot of really weird, like, cameos in this. Like, small roles. I'm like, is that fucking Diego Luna? And then I'm like, is that fucking Dave Franco?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, is that goddamn Pedro Pascal?
I also like how they didn't diminish the victim's experience. Yeah. Even though they didn't believe it was Alonzo, they were like...
Yeah, they're like, this happened. I just think that the police pressured her into picking someone. And she picked the one they were pressuring her towards. Which is probably what happened. Which happens, you know? Yeah. Lots of really cool characters in this movie. I really like the main two. I really like Tish's, like, whole family. Yeah. What's his name? Alonzo, yeah. Or Fonny.
Yeah, they call him Fonny.
Fonny, his family's kind of a nightmare. But
yeah.
His dad's okay. Seems like he's an alcoholic, but...
His dad definitely has, like, that, and the main point of contention that you could probably have against him is the fact that he smacks his mother, which...
You know, I don't usually, but holy... She was being, like, the worst person ever.
Yes, she was.
There's one point where Tish is pregnant, and... Fonny is in jail, and she's telling them that, hey, I'm gonna have Fonny's child. And she just starts going like, your baby will be born of sin and will die, and I hope...
She basically just says that she's gonna miscarriage. Like, God's gonna miscarriage your baby because
because you're evil, but my son will be forgiven, but you and your baby will die. Yeah. And the husband just gets up and fucking slaps her across the face.
Yeah. Because, like... the brief insight we get into this woman, it seems like every decision she makes is based around her, like, religious beliefs. To the point where, like, he even mocks it, because she's like, who's gonna raise the baby? And he's like, well, it damn sure ain't gonna be the Holy Ghost. And yeah. Yeah, no, I really like all of Tish's family. Like, her sister is fucking, like, brutal, and... like some of the shit she was saying. Like, I love that scene where they're kicking them out and she just keeps saying stuff and the mom just keeps like going like, hey, stop. Like, I really like both the father characters, even though the one is presented to be a little bumpy. I really like Tish's father in particular. Real wholesome. He basically like sits the other father down and is like, look, we
gotta go do crime.
Yeah. You know, I know how to hustle. You know how to hustle. Get hustling. We've gotten out of tight corners before. We just need to do it. And I really like the one line where he's basically like, talking about how, like, they aren't gonna get the money is basically like admitting defeat. It's like, if you say that, then there sure is no way in hell we're gonna get it. So you just gotta do it, you know? I like that line. But yeah, the main point of this movie is just like kind of showcasing just how brutal the fucking justice system is. Because it's like, he literally is being like they're talking about giving him the death sentence at one point for a crime he did not commit. And then there's some other scenes where we meet a friend of his who just got out of jail for a crime he didn't commit.
That scene's brutal.
Yeah, they said he stole a car when the guy doesn't even know how to drive, but he took the plea because he was found with marijuana, and those charges were apparently he would be in jail for longer. So he was just like, yeah, I guess I stole the car because that gets me into less trouble. And yeah, just like there's this whole sequence where he's sitting at the dinner table, and it's one of those like slow zooms, like recapping like just like the horrors he's been through, and it gets real quiet.
the just like heel turn of that scene is really intense because they're like laughing and talking, and they suddenly like I just got out of prison. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah. But yeah, no.
I think one thing this movie really nails is its depiction of like its intimacy and its camera.
Yeah, no. His use of just like kind of like orchestral scores and just like following characters through this scene with like the lighting, and it's all very like sensual, and it really puts you with the emotions it wants to like.
Every time Tish talks about how in love she is with Fonny, it would like do a pretty extreme close up of Fonny, and the way that like the score matched with the lighting and like that extreme close up, it was like, yeah, I think I'm in love with him too. I mean, like,
I get it.
Yeah. And then they would do that same kind of close up when he's in jail. And he's like beaten to a pulp, and I'm just like, holy fuck, I feel sick to my stomach now.
Yeah.
I think the camera work in this movie's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because like Moonlight's camera work is fucking insane.
I wonder if it was the same guy.
I would not be surprised if it was.
I wonder if Letterboxd shows.
Usually does. What else was I going to say? Yeah, but no, like
same guy.
Same guy. Yeah.
James Laxton.
What else has he done?
He did Tusk and Yoga Hosers.
I mean, I don't think Tusk necessarily looks bad. I feel like
Yoga Hosers looks bad, but
that's probably not his fault.
Yeah. Then he did Holidays, which is like that anthology, like horror thing. I've not seen it, but I heard.
Kind of weird to jump from those to like Moonlight and Beale Street.
Then he did Adult World, which appears to have Emma Roberts, John Cusack, and.
What are these movies? You're making up things now.
I'm not. Camp X-Ray, which it looks like a military movie starring Kristen Stewart, and then a movie called The Underground Railroad, which is a 2021 Barry Jenkins movie.
Yeah, that's the series I almost picked.
Ah, I see. But yes, that's it. He's done a lot more than that. That was just the initial.
Oh, he did The Myth of the American Sleepover too. That's the newer movie by It Follows Man.
Oh, he also did the cinematography for Medicine for Melancholy.
Huh. Okay, that's how he probably got it.
Probably. He also did Bad Milo. I don't know if you've seen that movie. That's the movie about a guy who has a monster that comes out of his ass.
No, I haven't seen it.
Very like basket case brain damage, that director whose name I can't remember. Very much that sort of energy, but more
Jacob Vaughn
comedies.
I will probably watch Bad Milo though, because it is a Duplass Brothers production. They're both producers on that movie.
Of course, why does that not surprise me?
But it seems like a movie they would produce.
Yeah.
Man, I just keep thinking about that one. Language Lessons from last year is such a good movie. That's like one of the good COVID movies. Like the ones that are like, we're going to use the pandemic, and they're like, oh, they're stuck in that movie's great. I love Mark Duplass. But yeah, I think If Beale Street Could Talk's really good. I think it's powerful. I think it's emotional. I don't think it ever hits any of the necessary like big high points that Moonlight does, but Moonlight feels like it's not going to be beaten by Barry Jenkins. I don't know.
I mean, yeah,
but I feel the same way about like I love Bong Joon-ho and I'm always excited for a new one. But I'm like, Memories of Murder is my favorite film. I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's ever going to be topped by Mr. Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like. It certainly could, and you hope it can.
Yeah, I'm like,
and
yeah,
it's
make a better movie.
Times. Like, Parasite would be like my go-to example for another Bong Joon-ho movie that comes pretty close.
Yeah.
This one This one comes pretty close too, but Moonlight's still just.
Yeah.
Oh man, but I don't doubt that he could. I think that this movie. I don't know. I'm interested to see him because I don't think Moonlight was an adaptation of anything. I'm pretty sure that was a Barry Jenkins original.
Yeah, did he write that one? I'm
not sure, but this is based off of a book, so clearly, like, he wouldn't have like full narrative control. Not that I really think anything's wrong with the narrative of this movie.
He did write it. Apparently, if Beale Street could talk, a lot of like what people like about his script is he brings to light a lot of these like weird small characters that show up. Like a lot of these people didn't really show up originally, or they were just like background characters. But these small scenes with like his friend or like Dave Franco's character. Dave Franco's like that scene's actually like really, really charming. I really like that scene.
Oh yeah.
And I do really like the Diego Luna scene when he's like, "Oh, sorry you're with him."
Yeah.
It's just I think this movie's really good because it can just jump back and forth from being like delightful and genuinely charming to like, "Oh, my heart is in pain. I'm suffering."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. It's definitely writing one of the two tones.
But and I never got like tonal whiplash in a bad way from this one though. I'm like, no, this works.
Yeah, it was very well crafted in that regard. But yeah, I'm trying to think. The mother is also Tish's mother is also great.
Yeah, Regina King. Regina King's so good. I want to watch more Regina King stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she goes all the way to Puerto Rico, right? That's what she.
Yeah.
That's a whiff. That does not work out. Probably made the situation a little worse.
Probably.
At least for that woman.
Definitely.
That poor woman.
Yeah. Oh man. The second she like went up and was like putting her hands on her, I was like, no, wrong approach. It was just like, oh man. But yeah, fuck. This movie's good, but it's also kind of hard to watch at certain times. That scene in particular. But yeah, fucking. Yeah, I don't know if I have much to say about this one either.
I mean, we definitely talked about it longer, but yeah, like I think this movie's great. I think the performances are really good, and I think it looks like fantastic. So I think you should watch it.
Yes.
That ending's brutal though too.
Yeah, it's a pretty brutal ending. That child actor is fucking awful.
I just think children be like that, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I get spoiled by like a lot of media these days because like sometimes it'll just come across like Moonlight, for example, great child actor, and then this movie, not a great child actor, but
we get like the same, but then we see the same child actors, like Jacob Tremblay. He was in like Room and Wonder, and he's in Doctor Sleep. He gets like he's only in 2 scenes of Doctor Sleep. I think he like shows up and then he gets murdered. But I remember reading an interview being like all the people murdering him were like, we just wanted to stop. We were just like, oh my god, because he's just there like screaming and he's like, ah! And I'm like, oh god,
damn. I haven't watched Doctor Sleep yet, but soon.
I love that. I really like.
It's one I'm going to read the book for first.
Okay. Yeah. Good movie.
Yeah. You would give this one an 8 out of 10.
I would. You would give it an 8 out of 10.
I would.
Genius. What are we watching next week, Thomas?
All right, let me pull it up and make sure. So, the first one we're going to be watching is a movie I've wanted to watch for a long time, just haven't gotten around to it. It stars Dwayne Jones.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
And it is called Ganja and Hess.
Yo, I want to see Ganja and Hess for a million years!
Yeah, and we're also going to watch...
Is there a remake of Ganja and Hess?
Yes. We're also going to be watching Spike Lee's remake of Ganja and Hess, which is called The Sweet Blood of Jesus.
The Sweet Blood of Jesus is a remake of Ganja and Hess?
Yes, it is.
I had heard of that movie. I just didn't know that was a remake.
Mm-hmm. So,
and that's the one that's supposed to be bad, right?
The remake?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know its reputation. I was just like, Ganja and Hess. And I was like, what would be a good double feature for Ganja? Oh, Spike Lee did a remake? Add it on.
I've heard that's like one of Spike Lee's worst movies.
Well, I've seen Bamboozled, so
Bamboozled is good.
Yeah, it has merit. I did not enjoy that.
You're not supposed to enjoy it.
True. But yeah, so we're gonna be watching those two.
Okay, cool, sweet.
Yeah,
Spike Lee. We haven't seen a movie from him since the deep dive.
Yeah, and Dwayne Jones. We haven't seen a movie from him since Night of the Living Dead.
Jesus Christ. The Spike Lee deep dive was like it was like a year and a half ago.
No, it wasn't.
It was July of 2020.
Oh, man. That went by fast.
The fuck?
That feels so recent.
I hate that.
All right, well.
I feel like I watched The Five Bloods like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, God, it feels... Because that movie came out like...
2020.
That came out like right after Chadwick died, right?
Pretty close to it, yeah.
Damn. Man. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. Shit.
I mean, I guess I don't remember anything about He Got Game, pretty much, but...
I remember He Got Game pretty well. I remember He Got Game... Malcolm X, I remember.
Malcolm
I've
X.
seen that more than what we had seen for just the podcast. Bamboozled, I remember pretty well. Fucking Do the Right Thing, I remember pretty well. Yeah, the only one that I'm a bit fuzzy on, where I'm like, I remember watching it, but I don't really remember a whole lot of what goes on in it, is She's Got All That? Is that
She's Gotta Have It.
She's Gotta Have It. She's Gotta Have It. Which we didn't even
I remember
watch
Spike
for the
Lee
episode.
being in that.
Yeah, he plays... I don't remember the character's name, but he plays like her best friend or whatever. Or no, he plays like one of her suitors. That's right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week for some Spike Lee and some Dwayne Jones. Did he?
He acted in it.
He's the main character in that, right? He's
one of the two.
Hess, I think. Yeah. Who directed that one? It's somebody that I've been interested in. I think they did one other movie, if I remember correctly. Let's real quick before we leave. What's that? Ganja and Hess. Oh, Bill Gunn. Yeah. He did another movie called Personal Problems, which is like 3 hours. It's an experimental soap opera centered on a Harlem nurse. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
That sounds actually very interesting. How many people have watched it? 2.3 thousand? That means it's probably watchable. Add to my watch list. Interesting. Okay.
So, something I've been meaning to watch as well.
But yeah, hopefully Ganja and Hess is good. I haven't really heard anything about it. I just saw the poster and I was like, holy fuck, Dwayne Jones is in this movie? And I'm pretty sure like it's like the only other movie he did. Aside from Night of the Living Dead. Because he wasn't like a big actor. But I might be wrong. He might have done it.
He's in a movie that I've also been meaning to watch called Losing Ground that I've heard is just phenomenal. But yeah, in general, he was in a movie called Beach Street.
He was in 8 movies. Night of the Living Dead, Ganja and Hess, Losing Ground, Beat Street, To Die For, Fright House? Is that the name of that? Vampires. And then...
I don't think that's a real movie, that last one. I think that's somebody...
Yeah. It's an Alan Smithy movie.
Fright House.
I bet they probably just used clips from Night of the Living Dead and credited him.
Yeah.
But Another Night of the Living Dead from 2011. So yeah, he definitely wasn't in that because I'm pretty sure he was dead at that point.
Was Maniac Cop 3 an Alan Smithy film?
Yeah, probably.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no, he died in the 80s. So, but yes,
Yeah, so we'll watch those next week.
Ganja and Hess and The Sweet Blood of Jesus.
Send us questions. Tell your grandma. Subscribe, like, do whatever you want.
Fuck
Be free.
you, Philip, in the best ways.
Philip, we're gonna fuck you. Okay, bye.
Bye.